Hello and welcome. And I am absolutely delighted today to be joined by my very good friend, Julia Grantham. And Julia and I are going to have a chat about Julia's new book, which is Moley and the Mysterious Sea Turtles, a book that I have to say is a particular favourite. I really do enjoy it. And it's got a lovely sort of Austen theme running through it for a children's book. So I'm delighted to be joined by Julia today because I just want to have a little bit of a chat about it. And I thought that you might be interested in it too. So welcome, Julia. Lovely to see you. It hasn't been long, obviously. We've only just seen each other in England, which was absolutely wonderful.
Very true.
Wonderful to see you and to celebrate Jane's 250th birthday together at Chawton House. That was a particular pleasure.
That was very special. And thank you for inviting me, Caroline. I really, really appreciate it. And it's great to be here.
Well, we're long-standing friends. And of course, you've also been a long-standing volunteer and supporter and ambassador for the Jane Austen Literacy Foundation. So you and I are actually connected in many ways, personally and professionally. So it's an absolute delight to be talking to you. But tell us about Moley and the Mysterious Sea Turtles and really what sort of inspired you to write about Moley.
Yes, it's a long story. It is a very long story because Moley came to our family, and he is here, of course. Hi, Caroline. Good to see you. He came to our family many years ago when my son was really little, about 4 or 5. We bought Moley at the school fair. And then he started, because he's so expressive, he's
He actually a puppet?
He's a glove puppet, yes. But and he's got various facial expressions, and we all fell in love with him and started taking him with us on different adventures to our holidays and everywhere. And gradually, things which were happening with our new home in the garden, and Moley got involved in everything. And gradually I thought, well, it would be nice to write it all down and make it into a children's book. But the first book took me a very, very long 7 years. The first book was A Mole Like No Other, this one. I've got them behind me as well. But it took me a very, very long time, and mainly because I was struggling with imposter syndrome. You know, I was thinking, right, English is not my first language. People will be saying, how dare you writing books in English? And who am I to write in a country which has amazing children's authors? This sort of things. And interestingly, it was at Jane Austen Regency Week when we were sitting around the table with wonderful Alison Larkin, who is also our good friend.
Yes.
And I was telling at the table the story about Moley. And everybody was laughing. And Alison said, Julia, just do it. Stop hesitating. Just do it. And she wrote it on a napkin for me. And I actually framed the napkin. I still have it.
Wow.
So I got the napkin, which Alison wrote, just do it. And she really gave me that little push to finish it, because I thought, actually, what is going to happen? You know, okay, I'll write it. Somebody will like it, somebody won't, but at least the story will be out there. So that's how A Mole Like No Other came to being. And as you very rightly said, because we're also enamored with Jane Austen's work, there's lots of references to her books, mainly to Pride and Prejudice, which is my favorite book. There's lots of reference in the book because one of the characters, Owley, knows Pride and Prejudice by heart, and she quotes and puts the quotes in different places, sometimes appropriately, sometimes not very, but it's actually quite a good fun to spot the references throughout.
And did you do that for the adults that are reading it? Because it's a children's book. So did you do that for adults, or did you do that as an early introduction to the children?
I think a bit of both. But mainly because these phrases are popping up in my head, and we just wrote them down.
Jane's inserting herself in the book, then.
Exactly. I didn't like that to call one of the chapters called First Impressions. And frankly, I didn't even know, where did it come from? I mean, of course it came from Jane Austen,
Yeah.
but I just, oh, wonderful name for the chapter. And then it came to me that it was how Jane Austen called Pride and Prejudice before she changed the title to Pride and Prejudice. So it because you sort of live in that world finds its way into your writing. And the first book was received really well. And with the same wonderful Alison Larkin, we teamed up and produced an audiobook of A Mole Like No Other. And I'm really pleased because amongst hundreds of books which Alison narrated, only 2 were chosen by a company called Voxblog. It's an innovative company. They produce audiobooks for children, but without screens. So children are not attached to the screen all the time. They listen,
Right.
they choose the book, put it inside this player and listen, but they don't sit in front of the screen. And they chose only 2 books, and one of them was A Mole Like No Other. So that was really wonderful. And we really want, I'll say it about the second book. So a few years later, not 7, probably about 3, I've written another book about Moley's adventures. And this time, Moley goes to America. So he goes to Florida. And there is a bit of a theme now developing because Moley constantly tries to save little babies. In the first one, there were baby ducklings.
Yes.
In a second one, there are baby turtles.
Yes.
So he is very conscientious little animal toy, and he teams up with animals in the place where he goes, and he always tries to make the world a better place. And in this one, he learns that turtles are endangered, and he wants to save every little turtle which hatched on the beach and deliver them to the sea. I won't tell you the whole story, but actually, the books, that why they are interesting for children, but they also a little bit, or quite a bit, educational, because they tell about the challenges which we are facing in the world. And like in the second one, it's about endangered animals. But they also talk about being introduced to a new place, to a new circle of friends, finding your way with maybe other friends who you don't necessarily see eye to eye with straight away. You know, there's quite a lot of psychological underpinning because that's what I'm doing now, being involved with a psychological training company. So they're quite useful in that respect. And I'm very, very pleased that, again, one of our Jane Austen friends, Monica from Florida, she reads every year books about Moley with her class, and children absolutely love it. And they adored the fact that second book is placed in Florida. So that's why when the second book came out, obviously, Alison Larkin would be a perfect narrator for the second book, because in the second, obviously, Alison speaks perfect English and perfect American accent, being both British and American. So, and because Moley goes to Florida, obviously Moley speaks with British accent, and lots of animals speak with American accent, and Alison would be a perfect narrator for the story. So that is why currently I have created this company on Kickstarter, which it's the first time. I've never done it before, so it's a new experience.
And you created a campaign. You created a campaign on
campaign.
Yes.
Campaign. What did I
You
say?
said company, but it doesn't
Company.
at all.
No,
I didn't mean to. I didn't correct you. Just making sure that everybody understood.
We're a company called Kickstarter.
And before you go on to that, can I just ask, what age children? I mean, I have to say, as an adult, I've enjoyed reading both of them. I mean, they've both been wonderful stories, but they're obviously for children. But what age range?
Yes, I would say from 5 to 10. and maybe younger children, the books are quite text heavy. They are not just, picture books, although they have pictures, but they're quite text heavy.
Story. Yes.
They're storybooks, they're chapter books for children. Yes. Yeah. Yes. So for I would say for younger children, it would be perfect if their parents read them to them, or guardians, or if they listen to the audiobook. That's why I'm so keen on producing the audiobook.
Yes. So tell us about the Kickstarter campaign then.
Yes. All the children read it fine. And although I say up to 10, but 11 years old, even 12 years old, read it with interest. So, but I say 5 to 10. Yes, the Kickstarter campaign. So I am raising money for producing the audiobook of the second Moley book. Yes, and hopefully with Alison Larkin, who's done superb job with the first one. So for the first time, I've created this Kickstarter campaign, and we are raising £2,000. But Kickstarter, what I didn't realize, Kickstarter will only give you money if you manage to get pledges for the whole amount.
Absolutely. It's an all or nothing with Kickstarter.
It's all or nothing. So although there are many generous people who already pledged their support for the campaign, if we don't get the full amount, we won't get anything at all.
And what sort of benefits can people get on the Kickstarter campaign?
Yes, with Kickstarter, you can get various rewards for different amount for the pledge of different amount you do. So I think I'm going from top of my head, but first of all, you can just support the campaign without any reward and without any limitations in terms of how big or how small you support it. If you just believe in the campaign, you can just support it. And I think from after that, you can have special posts from me with Moley saying thank you on Facebook for I think it's for 10 or 15 pounds. Then you can, when the audiobook is out, you can have a copy of the audiobook for another reward. Then you can have a signed copy of either one of the books or both of Moley books, and I will sign them and personally sign them to the person who made a pledge. And I will also put a little sticker of Moley Champion on them. Then I have one very, very special reward, which is original illustrations by Carol Wellard. It's an interesting story because my illustrator is from Czech Republic, and she's called Karolina Velartova. So she makes her name into a shorter English sort of version, Wellard. But Velartova is actually her surname. So her surname actually means that she's a good artist. And, and she is a very good artist, which is quite...
What do you mean? That's what that name actually means in it.
Well, art, yeah. Well, art. She produces good art. So I've got all the illustrations from the book from her. And they are original. They're original pencil illustrations like that, or smaller ones like that. Yes. So 3 people, I'm not going to give very many of them away, but 3 people will receive them. I will put them into the mount like this, and I will also put a certificate of authenticity saying where they come from, that they're original art by this artist, and certified myself. So there are 3 rewards. I think 2 of them are already claimed. So
I have to say, and I'm going to break cover and say that one of them's me, because I just couldn't resist having I thought a copy of the book, and obviously I think it was a signed copy of the book and an illustration. I thought that, I mean, she's a tiny bit young now, but in a couple of years, my great niece, P, who is Jane Austen's seventh great niece, who is growing up in the grounds of Chawton House, which for all of us is just amazing that's where they're living, and that she's sort of growing up in Chawton, and you know the legacy continues. It is not going to finish with us, and that's just such a wonderful thing. So yes, I'm going to keep that, and probably in a couple of years that'll be a lovely birthday present for her. I thought, to have a original illustration and a signed copy of such a lovely book, particularly as it's just got those whispers of Austen in it. That obviously for me just makes it even more special.
Well, Carol would be delighted to know where it went, and so will I. So, and I think there's another reward, which is a Zoom meeting with me, which is fine. Many people can have Zoom meeting with me for work, but this can be also with a class or group of children.
Yes, because I've seen you do that, haven't you? And you've been doing that with the classrooms in America. I've seen pictures of you, obviously on a big screen, but talking to a classroom full of children. Presumably, they've been reading the book, and you're doing a session with them to bring it to life, which is fantastic.
Exactly. With all the toys, because it's not just Moley I have here, because all the other, I write from life.
Best way. That's the best way.
So I've got all the other toys which participate in the books as well. So they all participate in these meetings. I even have a bat. Let me show you, because I bought it. You won't believe it. I bought this bat this year in Jane Austen House Museum.
They're selling bats
because they have bats in the roof, apparently. So they were selling bat toys.
We had bats in Chawton House when I lived there.
There you go.
The bats used to fly across the tops of the rooms. Yes, they do have.
So Jane Austen connection continues, because there is a bat in the second book, and my bat is now coming from Jane Austen House Museum.
Fabulous.
So this is quite amazing. So if I was thinking maybe adding some more rewards, especially if the illustrations go, I might add something else, because I'm an author of Mr. Darcy's Guide to Pemberley. I might put that as a reward as well. So people can contact me and say, I want to pledge. Can I have a signed copy of Mr. Darcy's Guide to Pemberley? And of course I will say yes. That's not a problem. So I hope we'll get to that target of £2,000. We only have 25 days left.
Right.
Because that's another thing. You can't keep the campaign on Kickstarter for a very long time.
Yes.
You need to do it quickly and effectively. So I'm really grateful, Caroline, for your help with this, just spreading the word and letting people know what it is about.
Well, as I said, not only is it a book I enjoyed, it's also something that I think when I saw this campaign, I just thought, I am such an advocate for audiobooks, because they allow, for two reasons. First of all, because there's lots of us that life is very busy, and actually being, in general, I'm talking about audiobooks, but, being able to have an audiobook on in the car when I'm sort of driving, it just means it gives you a way of consuming literature when you don't have time to. It does, for me, it sort of does that. But also, I think audiobooks are a fantastic gateway to reading. And I've seen that particularly with my own father, who's dyslexic. And when I was younger, his reading wasn't very strong. But because he's got into audiobooks, that has absolutely, and now he's reading books all the time, because it sort of introduced him into particularly Jane's work. Hearing it first made it, and he's now read Jane Austen's novels as much as anyone else has. And it was audiobooks that sort of did that. And with children, it's the same thing. I think an audiobook can be such a good support to literacy and to reading. That was particularly why I sort of thought, it's got to have an audiobook. And I often think also for children, the audio and the physical book together is a really good combination. And to hear it being read while they're reading again, it's all supporting the development of their literacy. And that was, other than it being a great book and it obviously being yours, it's also, as I said, I just thought that, yes, this is a campaign that is worthwhile because, as I said, the combination of an audiobook and a great children's book really is, you know, as I said, really supporting children. And I think that's really important.
I hope it will come. Well, to be honest with you, I hope it will come to fruition at this Kickstarter campaign. But if not, I will think of something else, you know, because I really want it to be done, because the book is totally made for Alison to read, to narrate. So I hope we'll do it.
Excellent. So I will obviously, when I post this conversation, I will put the links in for the Kickstarter campaign so people can very easily find it. 25 days, but don't delay, obviously, and click on the link and have a look. It's a very worthwhile campaign. They really are wonderful books. I'm not just saying that because we're friends. They really are very, very enjoyable read. And as you said, and I think that's borne out in the fact that you said exactly it was only one of 2 audiobooks chosen by that company you mentioned. And it's all, I mean, and I also seem to remember certainly did Moley on Amazon. You were certainly in the top selling something for a bit.
When it first came out, yes, because it was actually, well, because in Amazon you are becoming bestseller in certain categories.
Yes, so
for example, Moley was a top bestseller in chapter books for children, for example. That was category where he even beat some of J.K. Rowling. Well, all of them, because it was top. But it, you know what I mean. It doesn't mean it's better than her books, but it means that at that point when it first came out,
but that's a great achievement. That's a great achievement. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Julia, for telling us about Moley's new adventures, Moley and the Mysterious Sea Turtles, which you can obviously just get onto Amazon and buy this book as well, if anybody's interested in the book. And if you'd like to have a look at the Kickstarter campaign, as I said, just click on the link that's with this conversation. And I hope we get there, Julia. I hope we get you to the £2,000.
Thank you.
And then we will look forward to the audiobook.
Thank you very much, Caroline. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.